Friends, I'm going to talk today about some concepts regarding limitless space missions. But such space missions will be possible only when we have excellent teamwork, which will lead to the successful completion of such missions. Next slide. Space exploration, space technology, applications of space technology, space travel, space tourism, etc. are very, very exciting subjects. We have been witnessing the adventurous, spectacular space missions for over 60 years now. All of these have always required extensive participation from each member of the team responsible for the execution of the tasks for completion of the mission. Almost all the missions so far had some limits, and now is the time to think about limitless space missions. Next. The Apollo 11 landing on the moon actually fascinated all the people around the world. For the first time, a human being had gone out of the earth and landed on the moon, and that was considered at that particular time as the limit. Next. Very recently, a helicopter was flown on Mars. This would actually be a next step going towards achieving transportation on another planet. A simple electrically driven buggy kind of a vehicle was used on the lunar surface in one of the Apollo missions. But when we look at what is going to happen towards Mars, because Mars has the atmosphere, and for the first time in such a rare atmosphere, a helicopter was flown, indicating that there is a possibility that that kind of a transportation will become possible on the surface of the Mars as and when a human habitat is actually established on Mars. Next. Using a fairly small rocket, small launch vehicle, the Japanese scientists had conceived of a very interesting project called as Hayabusa 1 and 2. And the mission was to go all the way up to one of the asteroids, touch down there, collect some material and bring it back. That's a fascinating kind of a concept, that we could actually bring back some material from an asteroid. Next. Pioneer was one of the satellites which went on a grand tour from one planet to another planet. Using the gravity assist kind of a system, it was possible for it to go to various planets, take photographs, take images, and later on it has actually now left the solar system. Next. In 1983, our INSAT satellite was launched using Space Shuttle. That was just the beginning of the real long life type of spacecraft for our telecommunications, meteorology, etc. And since then, we have been continuously sending quite a large number of satellites in orbit. Next. Using a fairly small launch vehicle like the PSLV, it was possible for us to go all the way up to the moon, take the images there, and have a moon impact probe which actually impacted onto the surface of the moon and took some images there. Next. Same thing, using the similar launch vehicle, we went all the way up to the Mars and went into a Mars orbiter mission. Next. And now we are looking at the GSLV Mark III, which will have the capability of sending even our astronauts from India, which we call as the Gaganyatri, and the spacecraft is going to be known as the Gaganyaan. We'll be going to the next level from here. Stephen Hawking, in an interview, had indicated very sarcastically that we have given the mankind a gift, in his own words, of the climate change, and this is going to result in the earth being uninhabitable. And what he had suggested was that in about 100 years or so, we should be looking at sending out human beings and many other things outside of the earth and establishing colonies outside. And that's a very interesting concept of colonization, and he was talking about that such a colonization might take even 1,000 years, but according to him, in the next 100 years or so, we should be taking steps towards that. Next. Now, space missions are characterized by the goal, purpose, time duration, and complexities. The space missions involve spacecraft, launch vehicles, tracking and control networks, and utilization of the data that we get from such space missions. These space missions involve research and development, manufacturing, testing, and operationalization. At any given time, a very large number of persons are working towards realizing the mission. They may not know it, but all of them make one team. At the height of the Apollo project in USA at that particular time, they had estimated that more than about 100,000 people were working on that particular project. In case of our own INSAT project, when I had estimated, I had found that we had more than about 1,000 people continuously working towards that mission. Today, in most of our missions, a large number of people are involved. Next. The purpose of any space mission can be any specific kind of thing, but there can be space science, space exploration, communications, Earth and space imaging, navigation and position determination, human presence in orbits around the Earth, space travel and tourism, mining and manufacturing in space, and human habitats on Moon or Mars. Next. The space missions are generally limited by the following. We think about having a space mission, but each one of them has got certain limits. The mass of the spacecraft, the launch vehicle capability, the chemical energy storage devices like the electrical batteries, the amount of propellants which we carry along with it so that the orbits can be controlled, the attitude can be controlled, degradation of the electrical power generation systems, degradation of materials and components due to space environment, failures of components and subsystems, the telemetry, command, control, tracking and data communications from such space missions. Each one of them indicate certain amount of limits considering the capabilities of the ground systems as well as the space systems. Next. How these limits can be extended has been studied for a very, very long time, and one of them has been very clearly demonstrated, and that is in-orbit docking and assembling of larger structures. The International Space Station is one of the very important examples of such a system in which, in the initial period, it was thought that the International Space Station will remain operational for almost 20 years, and that 20-year life was expected to come to an end by about 2021 or 2022. Now they are thinking about extending the lifetime of the International Space Station all the way up to 2027 and even beyond by actually commercially utilizing the International Space Station. In order to extend the life, can we repair a satellite? Yes, this was demonstrated on the Hubble Space Telescope when in orbit repair and refurbishment of the telescope itself was carried out. Replenishment of propellants, replenishment of chemical batteries, replenishment of consumables has now become very common with the International Space Station as well as the new Chinese space station also. In the International Space Station recently, additional solar arrays have been also installed so that its power capabilities can be also enhanced. Next. The future long life missions will require establishment of habitats on the moon. We are thinking about the moon as the first step, where if we could find the materials, utilize them, and then make use of them there itself, as well as make use of these kind of materials to go further towards Mars. We will need to find the resources on the moon and use them for mission of establishing a habitat on the Mars. These resources could include materials and minerals required to build habitats, manufacture propellants for launch vehicles, or generation of the energy required. One of the important things that is being explored all the time has been the presence of the helium-3 on the moon, and whether using the fusion kind of energy generation systems will it be possible for us to go further. In the International Space Station itself, they have done experiments and which have proved to be quite successful, and that is growing food materials in space. Food has always been required to be supplied so far, but if it could be grown in the space station itself, that could be a very interesting possibility, because it will also be capable of removing the carbon dioxide to a certain extent. Next. One of the most important resources required for sustaining life in space is water. Water also can be used for developing the propellants required for energy generation as well as powering the rocket engines. For example, on the moon, there is going to be 15 days of light and 15 days of darkness in certain areas. When the light is there, using the solar power, it should be possible for us to take the water, electrolyze it, and generate hydrogen and oxygen, which can be stored separately and which can be used for energy generation later on. Same is the case from the water. If we could generate hydrogen peroxide, then it could be also utilized as a propellant. The water is available on the moon. It is available on some of the moons of the Jupiter and Saturn. We could use that water and actually then carry out all the experiments needed, and we need to find it and use it properly. Next. Almost every component of a space mission involves interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary work. It is not just the work of, say, mechanical engineers or propulsion engineers or electronics engineers. It is a work which involves chemical technology, it involves management, it involves finance. Almost every aspect of any space mission involves large number of people, large number of disciplines, and everybody has to work together in a multidisciplinary team, but at the same time, some of the people must know multiple disciplines. That's the interdisciplinary type of work which is required to be carried out. The work is not that of a single individual. There is one leader, and the work requires support and contributions from countless team workers. Many times in movies, in documentaries, work of a single individual is projected, but I think the most important thing is that of the entire teamwork. We see large amount of publicity for Elon Musk. He has definitely excellent ideas. He is the one as a leader who has led for the Tesla as well as for the SpaceX, which has resulted in the very large launch vehicles being developed in small places and actually resulting as a first launch vehicle completely reusable kind of a system. Passion, patience and perseverance is needed from each team member. Next. Very long-term space missions involve national as well as international team cooperation, collaboration and coordination in their efforts. The timescales involved could result in multi-generational efforts. We have seen the same thing which is happening. Some of the people who were initially involved in the making of the space station must have now retired. Even the second generation people are retiring, as I have seen them. Such space missions would be really called limitless space missions. And such limitless space missions will be possible only through proper teamwork. Next. In the book Management Thoughts, Pramod Batra has given a very interesting concept, and that is, if you reach for the stars, you might not actually get one, but you will not come up with a fistful of mud. Look towards the space, look towards the teamwork, and that's where the limits will end. Next. Thank you.